So the front lawn is not doing so great in one area, and I was troubleshooting and I've come across a problem valve and I need to rebuild it. So I thought I'd make a quick little video on how to do it. Let me show you guys what's going on. Let me start this valve up real quick. Let's go see what's doing. Okay, so here's the problem that I've got. The system's on. It's running pressure to the valves, but the heads, after 3 or 4 minutes of doing this, just barely not even pop up to spray the grass. So I'm getting dead spots out here, like this area and stuff like that, because the sprinklers just sit here and do this. So I started playing with the valve. So here's what I got. The valves in the case are okay, but I've got one of these IBV brass valves. It's a really nice valve, really expensive it turns out, but it's on and flowing. But I found out that there's a bleed right here. If I open the bleed up and just let a little bit of water out for a couple seconds and close it back, the problem goes away and they pop up. But as soon as I turn this off and turn it right back on again, they don't pop up again. So I'm 99% sure it's a problem with that valve. So I got a rebuild kit. Let's go put it in. So here's the kit that I got. The piping out there is a 1-inch. I'm not going to take it out of the package in case I have to return it until I know for sure. But this is what it is. It's a diaphragm for the ICV 1-inch. Now that one's an ICB. When you look up the ICV, this is the most common valve that they make, which is just plastic. But this is, I've had this apart once before. This is exactly what it is. So let's get a couple things together and go change it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna need is a screwdriver. I'm gonna use this guy, just a flathead, 1/4 inch. Nothing spectacular. These things shouldn't be on crazy tight. Next thing I'm gonna do is come back here and turn the system to off. That way it doesn't unexpectedly start. Okay, these don't require too much to them. Again, I said I've already had this one apart once before. But all you have to do is take a screwdriver and just go ahead and loosen these guys up. Now, there could be residual pressure in here, so you definitely want to turn the water off first. So what you do is, if you've got any sort of valving, it's kind of like mine here, easiest way to do it is just to shut the valve off going to it. Let's see if I can grab this guy, turn it off, and then I'm gonna bleed the pressure. So now water's live from here to here. It's blocked here. And now we can go down and start loosening this guy up all the way. And as you take this apart, you'll hear some air gurgle in there. You'll hear some other things. Not too much to worry about. But you definitely want to make sure, try to keep things as clean as possible and keep your hardware separated so you know where it is, because if you lose one of these things, you're SOL, I think. I'm not sure what type of thread that is, but it's probably not easy to find a replacement cap for it. So you see as it opens up there, water's starting to weep out of the bottom. More water comes out. There we go. So take note on this side. I'm gonna just set the screws down there. I know where they are. They're all right there. So on this side, you have that bypass cap. This is the actual actuator for the valve, the seat, and the spring. This stuff is going to stay right in here. We're not doing anything with it. So don't let that fall out. it might be loose. Just set that down there. And then here's the diaphragm. Just go ahead and pull that out. This little white ring stays in place. Now what I found on this guy is that right here, next to the valve, you see there's a little cut in it. When it comes to diaphragm valves, they work off a pressure differential. So if there's a cut or a hole anywhere in it, it's going to not work properly. In this case, I don't think it was regulating properly. It was kind of working. It was letting some water through, but it wasn't regulating like it was supposed to. So I'm gonna go grab the new one, compare the two real quick, and then put it in. Here we go. Here's the old ride right here, and the new hotness. Old ride, new hotness. Okay, so everything looks the same. That's the important part. I had to do lots of image researching to find this thing. Even the Hunter website wasn't really that helpful in figuring this out. Everything pointed back to that IBC, but then they didn't really show any pictures or breakdowns of what was going on. So I had to be very careful when getting this to make sure I got the right one. Okay, so we're gonna set that right back in there just like that. It's gonna stay there. When you put these things back together, don't use anything really out of the ordinary to do this. If it's falling out, you might want to change position, or you might need a second hand to hold that thing in place while you do the repair. Because if you put the cap back on and pinch it in the corner at all, then you've probably just ruined that diaphragm again, and that won't be a good thing. So then we'll go ahead, put this guy on right here, just like that. Okay, and now put some hardware in it. Okay, so I ran those guys down finger tight, and what I'm just going to do is just gently start snugging them up in an X pattern, trying to bring the pressure up on the diaphragm evenly. Keep going around until they're all tight. Be gentle with it. Don't try to cram it all down in one spot, and definitely don't use an impact to try to get it the rest of the way. When they all stop turning on you, it's good. As I'm pretty sure where I am now. Okay. Just gonna put my little yellow tag that was on there. Put that back on there. Alright, just like I left it. Now that guy is sealed up, I'm going to close my bleed screw back here. Going to open the main water. The key for this is to slowly open this valve up, because if you just let it go open as fast as you can, you could break the piping coming to it. Now, because of this vacuum breaker, there's not a lot of flow coming through, so this is very common. Don't worry about that. Once it gets up like that, just ease it open a little bit more, and the vacuum breaker will stop. If the vacuum breaker doesn't stop, or if it was leaking prior to this, pull your cap off, put a rebuild kit in there. They're really easy as well. All right, let's go check and see what we did. Oh, you're probably gonna have to bleed this. You might have to bleed it a lot. You might have to bleed it a little bit, but you're probably gonna have to bleed this for a little while. So the first time you crank those sprinklers on, don't be surprised if in fact it doesn't work. Okay, let's go back to our one station that we were gonna run. Back to run. Let's see if that fixed it. This is also my furthest away from that valving and the most amount of ports open on it. So it does normally take the longest time to open back up. And there we go. Up and running. It's funny because the other sprinklers weren't really affected, but this one particular zone, I guess because this is my highest flow zone, this one zone just could not get it to work. So I'm gonna go run the sprinklers for the whole lawn and double check all my pressures and make sure everything is covered nice and well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care.